Hello. Welcome to Diversus channel. In this video, the incredible story of Vladimir Putin's life. How does he manage the world's largest country alone? I hope you like this video. Of Vladimir Putin, in addition to being the president of Russia, is a leader with a dark side that is not well known. Is this an image created? Or is he really a charismatic leader? Please stay with us until the end of the video. To get other undiscovered secrets, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like the video and share it with your friends. Thank you. Early life and background. Vladimir Putin was born in the year 1952 in Leningrad, now known as St. Petersburg, Russia. His father, Vladimir Spiridonovich Putin, was a conscript in the Soviet Navy, serving in the submarine fleet during World War II, and his mother was a factory worker. Putin attended the law faculty at Leningrad State University where he studied international law. After graduating in 1975, he took a job at the KGB as an intelligence officer. He served in East Germany for several years, eventually rising to the rank of lieutenant colonel. In the 1990s, Putin returned to St. Petersburg and started working in the city administration. He worked closely with the then mayor Anatoly Sobchak, who later called him his right hand. In 1996, Putin became the deputy chief of staff for the president of Russia, Boris Yeltsin. 2 years later, Yeltsin named him Prime Minister of Russia, and in 1999 he appointed Putin as his successor as President of Russia. During his time in office, Putin implemented various reforms which helped to improve the economy of Russia and increased its international influence. He won re-election in 2004 and 2008 before stepping down from the presidency in 2012 to become Prime Minister once again. In 2018, he was re-elected for a fourth term as president, which will extend until 2024. First steps into politics. Vladimir Putin's first steps into politics began in the early 1990s when he joined the St. Petersburg mayor's office under the leadership of Anatoly Sobchak. During this time, he served as an advisor to Sobchak and a head of the Foreign Relations Committee. During his time at the mayor's office, Putin became known as an effective administrator who could navigate Russia's political landscape. In 1996, Putin was appointed to serve in the Kremlin as an aide to President Boris Yeltsin. Over the next few years, Putin rose in the ranks and took on increasingly important roles in the government. This included a number of posts within the security services, including head of the FSB and Secretary of the Security Council. In 1999, Putin was appointed as prime minister and quickly rose to prominence as one of the most influential figures in Russia. As prime minister, Putin was able to implement reforms which helped to improve the economy and restore order in the country. In 2000, Putin was elected president of Russia and has remained in power ever since. Rise to power. Vladimir Putin's rise to power began in 1999 when he was appointed prime minister by then-President Boris Yeltsin. He quickly gained popularity among the Russian people due to his tough stance against Chechen separatists and his ability to bring stability to the country. In 2000, he was elected president of the Russian Federation and held the office until 2008. During this period, Putin was praised for bringing economic and political stability to Russia, while modernizing the country's infrastructure and expanding its presence on the world stage. Under his leadership, Russia saw unprecedented economic growth and the country's gross domestic product, GDP, tripled between 2000 and 2018. Putin also consolidated power by curtailing freedoms and strengthening the role of the security services. This resulted in accusations of human rights abuses, including jailing or silencing of opposition leaders and activists. In 2008, Putin stepped down from the presidency but remained involved in politics as prime minister. In 2012, he was re-elected president, a position he has held since then. Throughout his time in office, Putin has maintained a high level of popularity among Russians and has been credited with maintaining order and stability in the country. Criticism from the West. Since coming to power, Vladimir Putin has faced growing criticism from the Western world. Many in the West have accused him of human rights violations, such as stifling dissent and suppressing press freedom. The international community has also expressed concern over his involvement in the Ukraine crisis, which began when Russia annexed Crimea in 2014. The United States and European Union responded to this annexation with sanctions against Russia, in an attempt to pressure Putin into ending the conflict. Additionally, Putin's increasingly close relationship with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has been widely denounced by Western governments, who claim that Russia is helping the Assad regime commit war crimes against the Syrian people. The West has also voiced alarm at Putin's plans to expand Russian military capabilities and nuclear arsenal, as well as his recent military interventions in other countries such as Venezuela and Libya. His aggressive stance towards NATO countries, as well as his rhetoric regarding the Western world, has caused further tension and mistrust between Russia and the West. Overall, the West's opinion of Vladimir Putin is largely negative, and many in the international community continue to call for greater accountability and respect for human rights from the Russian government. Accusations of human rights violations. Vladimir Putin's rule has been characterized by a host of human rights violations, from jailing political opponents to stifling freedom of expression. Amnesty International has identified numerous cases of abuses, including torture, disappearances, and the use of chemical weapons in Syria. Human Rights Watch has also called out Putin for cracking down on journalists and dissidents, as well as for allowing the murders of hundreds of journalists, activists, and opposition figures. In addition to restricting civil liberties, Putin is also accused of suppressing minority rights in Russia. For example, the government has made life difficult for LGBTQ individuals in the country, including prohibiting public displays of same-sex affection and preventing LGBT organizations from engaging in advocacy work. These allegations are not just confined to Russia, however. In Ukraine, Putin has been accused of supporting and enabling separatists who have violated the human rights of civilians, as well as committing war crimes. In Chechnya, the Kremlin has been accused of complicity in the disappearances and extrajudicial killings of gay men. The charges of human rights violations have followed Putin throughout his time in power, despite repeated denials from the Russian government. It remains to be seen how the international community will address these concerns going forward.